Well, welcome to Money Smarts. I'm Christine Donalow from Luzerne County Community College, and my guest today is Susan Schaefer. She's Director of Workforce Initiatives at Wall Street West. So welcome, Sue. Thanks for coming. Some of the viewers may or may not know of what Wall Street West is. Could you give us some information about what that project is about?
Yes, Christine, I'm happy to do that. Wall Street West began as a concept right after September 11th for northeastern Pennsylvania to provide backup operations, primarily in data management for Wall Street. And that way we would never have another economic blip like occurred on September 11th. Over time, really, technology has evolved, and the requirements to be able to store data have changed. However, Wall Street West is funded by a wired initiative, Workforce Innovations and Regional Economic Development, which is really about organizing your workforce system, which is kindergarten through lifelong learning and the public school system, education, etc., with the needs of industry and your workplace. So we were doing that, focusing on the financial services and information technology industries.
And so you've been around now for a couple of years, so can you give some idea to the viewers as to what kind of things you've been doing in the region?
Absolutely. Some of the things that we've been doing is looking at what are the skill sets that are necessary for positions that would be found in financial services and also in the information technology and data management fields. And then we have been communicating with the educational pipeline or pathways and all the various organizations that are involved in that about those requirements, and then investing the $15 million that was provided to us by Wired, the Department of Labor, of course, in upgrading our curriculum, in innovating in how we deliver education and training. And we have done that for high school students, college students, and the organizations that support them, as well as for incumbent workers in our existing financial services organizations.
And you've done some really, well, not you, but through the auspices of your organization, they've done some really innovative type of project, and you've worked through the variety of different counties in the region and stuff. Could you tell people about some of the projects that may have happened in the different regions and some of the amounts of funding that has gone on in Northeast PA?
Well, Christine, as you know, in the question that you just asked, there's probably about 3, 4, 5 hours worth of answers and books to be written, actually.
But I know you're very good at consolidating, Sue.
Yes. The Human Capital Committee, of which you're a member, really looked at proposals from across the region. We have 10 counties that are involved, and Schuylkill was the last county to be included in our region. And some of the specific projects that we've invested in, say in Monroe County, if you look at Right Reason Technology, they provide online learning formats for the public school system, as well as for employee training. They've developed a modular program that's offered in a blended format online, but teachers do it in a lab setting so that there was some guidance provided. But then students can go online afterwards. It involves 6 modules about the financial services industry, about financial services concepts, about job opportunities, but also about personal money management. And their last module is a current themes type module so that it is constantly being updated to reflect the dynamic changes in financial services right now. We have 69 school districts, plus now with the Schuylkill counties up into the 70s, and the school districts have all agreed that career awareness and career development activities are extremely important, and we are working with the school districts through the intermediate units, because as you know, we have a lot of school districts, and you need some central organization to be able to disseminate information and provide training. So the intermediate units have been invaluable. We've invested in software packages for career development for school districts who had not been able to identify those tools or access those tools in the past, providing professional development for educators. In fact, we have trained over 278 teachers, and they will directly impact 18,795 students. So,
You sure it's 18? I'm sure there's a multiplication effect too. And part of the thing is this is the show is called Money Smarts, and this particular program I really think has been very helpful because especially in the economic times that we're going through, the program that this provided for teachers as well as then for the students and possibly their families has been extremely helpful in the community because it's really financial literacy at its best.
Oh, it absolutely is. The University of Scranton, Misericordia University, and then Northampton Community College with a bank partner, they host the Centers for Economic Education programs, and they all collaborated to be able to provide professional development for teachers who are now infusing these financial services concepts into their curriculum or financial concepts. There was a summer institute at King's College for math educators, and it focused on how applied lessons for the theory that they learn. We frequently hear from businesses of all types, not just within the financial industry, that students on the theory side are strong, but their problem solving with those theories is not as strong as businesses would like it. So by having teachers see how the math is used in the business environment, they can then make or produce very relevant educational plans and lesson plans. Dr. Joyce Armstrong at King's has reported that they're going to adjust their teacher preparation curriculum as a result of the experience to include more business experience for math teachers so they could spend some time, maybe an internship, in a math-oriented environment and bring those things back to the classroom. So the whole range of opportunities and investments, as you noted, it's in students, it's in teachers, which is capacity building, equipment purchases, which then of course we're able to disseminate more programming in the future. Incumbent workers through a number of different programs, whether it's skills upgrades inside the businesses or through the adults' ability with the WIB Collaborative to walk into a career link, and they don't have to qualify for any of the other funding sources, but to say, I want to get into one of these programs and be able to finish a degree or attain an associate degree. It's very exciting.
There was just a number of opportunities for people, again, throughout the region. And the wonderful part about the Wall Street West Initiative and the Wired DOL project was the fact that it crossed boundaries and it brought colleges together and it brought colleges, it brought businesses, and it brought students together. And so that was a thing that, a lot of people just don't see. And it's hard to put your hands on those intangibles, but it really has fostered more of a partnership within the region, which has been one of the things that has been a focus of the government as well as education, trying to get people to work together.
It certainly has been and is going to continue to be even more important as we're moving through these budget challenges that we have as a result of the economic conditions currently. But I'd like to really let everybody know that regional programs, have been invested in by the Wall Street West committees. And when you look at that, we're talking about $9,757,259. Okay, so almost $10 million of our investments are serving the entire region or managed by regional entities, which is very exciting. That speaks to the partnerships, it speaks to sustainability, it speaks to the strength of northeastern Pennsylvania to be able to compete when there's such an economic challenge, nationally and internationally.
And most of that money was towards training, which was to bring the skill sets up to the people in the community so that we could meet the demands of the 21st century.
Absolutely. 100% of the funds are invested in education and training programs. It could be in capacity building, which is what we see in teacher education programs or equipment purchases and things, but there's a lot of behind-the-scenes partnerships that are going on among workforce entities, such as our workforce investment boards. We have 5 of them in the Wall Street West region, and they have been collaborating at an unprecedented rate, and that will continue. Our economic developers have continued to come to the table. The colleges and universities are just outstanding, and I honestly have to say that I believe in northeastern Pennsylvania and what we would traditionally have defined as Northeast PA, the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre area, Poconos, we, through the partnership activities we've had in the past, have been able to really capitalize on what's happening. But across the Wall Street West region, every investment had to have a partnership. So there needed to be a business person at the table, either advising or actively engaged in that program or that investment. In addition to the 50 investments that we've made and the partnerships that are required there, the partnerships at the executive committee level and human capital committee level, we also have reported from our sub-grantees an additional 31 partnerships that they have created as a result of the investments that we've made. And one of our challenges will be to identify the longer-term impact of these partnerships. And we're working with the Institute, Innovation Institute, Terry Ohm's group, as well as the Lehigh Valley Research Consortium to do an impact assessment for us.
I'm sure the impact is there, and as you say, it'll be ongoing, because you just never since I'm in education, and you really basically have an education background, is the fact that you can never tell what education will do 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the line. And I truly believe in today's society, we have to think of ourselves as lifelong learners. And what we learn today is as good as it is for today, but we have to keep on improving our skill sets. And that was the advantage of something like this, where it gave funding to communities that may not have had the money to do some innovative type of programs. One thing you mentioned to me before was about how well our region is and compared to the unemployment rate of other places. And we always talk about this area as being a little dismal in some respects, but in many ways we're ahead of the curve.
Actually, yes, we are. Okay, first, when I started interacting with other wired regions across the country, I recognized that they were utilizing their wired funding to do things that we had already done in northeastern Pennsylvania, such as creating college consortiums. NPTI, for instance, Northeast Pennsylvania Technology Institute, who is part of our leadership team, had organized 13 colleges and universities previously. So we were ahead. We have entrepreneurial programs in place for our youth. We had industry partnerships, and all of these are things that they were just beginning to engage in. So we were already ahead of the curve. And what we've been able to do is really capitalize on best practices that were in place, partnerships that were in place, and take things to the next level. But when I started, just out of curiosity, looking to see what are the unemployment rates nationally and how is Pennsylvania faring over time, and in November we were at 6.1%, and that was the 25th position. In December we were at 6.7%, but we had moved into 24th, with number one being the best place to be. So I think Pennsylvania overall is doing well in northeastern Pennsylvania because we've diversified our economy, and we've spent a good deal of time over the last 3, 4, 5 years really reaching out to our students and our parents and our incumbent workers to talk to them about where our job opportunities are. And they've really embraced the message, and they are starting to select their career pathways, their educational pathways to job opportunities, which helps us all.
Right. The other nice part about all of this is that a lot of the programs, or most of the programs, are ongoing, so that they have a life of themselves after Wall Street West. And I know that Wall Street West is looking to see what other projects and types of programs that are going to exist in the future. But the wonderful part about what this has done is given a foundation for things to branch out.
It absolutely has. We really, I should say, the Human Capital Committee endeavored to identify programs where sustainability was a built-in component. And even through the matching dollars in the things that were able to be leveraged as a match, like existing resources and personnel, et cetera, we were able to seed programs. So once curriculum is developed, it's able to be perpetuated. The same thing with our online learning programs. And of course, any direct tuition payments for individuals to attain degrees cannot be minimized. We have, let's see, I wanted to talk a little bit about some folks who entered employment. We've had 20 individuals enter training-related employment, which is very significant. We've had 2 financial services jobs created, 15 new IT jobs created as a result of our educational investments. We have about 75 interns, who are placed currently. We've got students youth who completed financial services training. There's 643 reported to date. So, the numbers are really just escalating. So it's going to be exciting to follow up. I'd also, really invite you to ask some of our sub-grantees to come in and talk about that longer-term sustainability component that they see. But we know that these models will be perpetuated. Another great example right here in the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre area is junior achievement and they call it the CEO program, Career Exploration Odyssey, and they have partnered with Wilkes University, and they're creating a high school level simulation activity for the new facility in Pittston. So that's going to be exciting. That should be able to be trademarked, registered to JA NEPA, and then they would be able to use proceeds from promoting that to other junior achievement organizations to help offset the costs of our high school students being able to participate in that in the future. So,
so there's lots and lots of programs. One of the things that people, if they're interested in finding out more about Wall Street West and the Wired Initiative, you have a website, and it's wallstreetwest.org. And it's all one word. And if anybody's interested in contacting you or letting people ask questions about what's going on, can you give them a number that they could reach your organization at?
Sure. You're welcome to call me on my BlackBerry. It's 484-515-8909. If you go on the website, there's contact information for the team as a whole. We have a director of communications who could work with our sub-grantees on getting information and success stories out, director of outreach who's been working with our businesses, and then every sub-grantee knows our Laura Lawrence, who's the project coordinator and really has the arduous task of keeping up with the administrative responsibilities.
And one of the good things about it is, even though it's called Wall Street West, and we understand how challenging the times are with Wall Street, we'll always have a financial market because that's how the world is created. So even though at times it might seem that things are not going to work out for the whole project as a whole, the skill sets and the learning that has taken place and the collaborations and partnerships are invaluable for the community and stuff like that. So we're running out of time, Susan. So any last words about the projects or any particular thing that you'd like to tell people about the programs or future endeavors?
Well, I really would encourage everyone to watch for the sustainability component and the promotion of the success stories. We're really starting to see the outcomes. We've made tremendous strides in education and advancing the skills of our workforce. Our higher education institutions really are the resource to the 21st century, and I would encourage the constituents of northeastern Pennsylvania to take advantage of President Obama's challenge for every adult to get back to school for 1 year. It's not easy. We have so many responsibilities, but as you pointed out, it's really the lifelong learning component. So let's hope that folks can embrace that. We have a lot of programs that have focused on the needs of adult learners or the non-traditional delivery of education. So those things are out there.
Right. It was interesting. When I listened to Obama's speech, I heard that about 1 year of lifelong learning, and I thought, or going back to college, and I said, that's a wonderful initiative, and I think colleges need to embrace that and look at the programs that they can develop for a year so that people come out with certificates and diplomas that have value for them. And I do think, as I said before, in today's society, we have to continue to learn, and the jobs of tomorrow, we don't know what they will be. But as long as we have the skill sets to read, write, and do arithmetic, we'll be able to do things, because that's what's needed, and we need technology. I think you have to add technology into that, because there's very few things in this world these days, from being a forklift driver to being a clerk at a retail store to working as a nurse in a hospital. You need to know technology, and that's something that the schools and the students and adults need to look at if they don't have those skill sets, because they're important. So I want to thank you, Susan. Susan is from Wall Street West. It's Susan Schaefer, Director of Workforce Initiatives, and I'm Christine Donilo at Luzerne County Community College. And I want to thank the mall at Steamtown for their help in having us have this show and the Ground Round. And this was Money Smarts.